Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show. It is Thursday, the 9th of September, 2021. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show is proudly brought to you by Omni True Value. I'm sorry, before we get to that, tonight, headlines with Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs. They're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York, on Long Island. And they're getting all their stuff out there now for Halloween and Christmas. So it's not early, folks. It's actually getting late here to set up for the holidays in case you want your home decorated for the holidays, or perhaps you would like to do this as a business. So give them a call at 631-957-5106, and the website is liholidaylighting.com, and also brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, 631-756-1125 for the best prices in town. And they will have the best prices in town when it comes to salt, because now is the time to start thinking about that if you are in the snow removal business. So give them a call or head to the website, omnitruevalue.com. So, Mr. Rayo, as he joins the fray here, we have Larry past Bermuda now, roughing up the surf here, and looks like heading for a landfall in southeastern Newfoundland sometime tomorrow evening or tomorrow night.
That would probably be right around Cape Race, Newfoundland, and then it continues north and eastward, probably stripped of its tropical characteristics as it moves over the much colder waters of the far North Atlantic, and eventually gets all the way up to around Greenland. So it's one of those kind of storms, Joe, that started out, it was very strong, a very potent tropical cyclone just a day or two ago. Still rather strong in its own right, but eventually it will indeed go to the graveyard, so to speak, as so many storms before it have gone.
Correct. Just taking a look here, I got the new GFS model run. We could take a look at what it's doing with Larry going into Newfoundland. It's going to pass south and east of Nova Scotia by a fair distance. And it's actually getting involved with a very strong upper trough that is affecting our weather, that affected our weather today and last night. And of course, that trough swinging eastward is going to give it a little zap of extratropical energy. The pressure here on the GFS, Joe, this is Friday evening. First of all, it's going to be moving like a rocket ship at this point, and then just flying by, because by in the time frame from 0Z, okay, so from 8 o'clock, it's at roughly 45.5 and 53. 6 hours later, the low is at 49. So it basically moves about 250 miles in 6 hours. So I mean, it's rocketing along at 40 or 50 miles an hour. I just wonder whether, if the center passes to the west of the southeastern, that southeastern peninsula there on Newfoundland, the winds there are going to be pretty strong, I would think, when you add the momentum.
Absolutely. Forward speed added to the actual strength of the storm has helped to ramp up a lot of storms. Case in point, the great Long Island Express of 1938, which was a potent storm and became even more potent because it had forward speed of something like 40 miles an hour. And this has happened before, and looks like it's going to be happening again with this particular system. And I'm sure that even though it misses Nova Scotia by a fair margin, that you would not want to be anywhere in the waterways in and around Nova Scotia or Sable Island. That's that tiny little speck of land that's located just east of Nova Scotia. You don't want to be anywhere out of the open waters. And I've been on cruise ships that have been in those waters. They're lovely if you're, sailing along on a leisure trip, but this is not the time to be on a leisure trip in and around the waters of Nova Scotia or Newfoundland, with Larry coming on by, again, as you pointed out, Joe, over the next 24 to 36 hours.
I just want to take a look at the 10-meter wind here. So that purple area there, that hatched in, out the purple, and then I don't know what that color is, but that's all 70 knots or better. That's east of the center there. And then all of a sudden it jumps over to the other side. I mean, that southeastern corner of Newfoundland is going to wind up could get clobbered with some very strong winds here, I guess it goes by. And then, of course, it gets wrapped up. You see how it gets wrapped up with that deep upper low that's up further to north in the Davis Strait there. And then it just kind of goes along its merry way across the North Atlantic and beyond. So something the folks there will likely, I mean, they already have. I think did they go to a hurricane? I would think they would have gone to a hurricane warning, or at least they should have. So let's take a look and see what the Hurricane Center is saying, because I didn't even get a chance to take a look at their new advisory.
And incidentally, in Nova Scotia, in Halifax, they have their version of the National Hurricane Center, and so they would issue. I think they would be the ones that would be issuing specifically for Newfoundland,
right?
Advisories or whatever.
And they have the Canadian Hurricane Center, that is spelled CENTRE and not CENTER, so it's the Centre. Has also issued a tropical. Well, they have a hurricane warning from Arnold's Cove to Jones Harbor. So I guess Arnold has the cove rights, Jones has the harbor rights, and then we have tropical storm warnings from, I don't know, is it Lamaline or Lamaline? LAMALINE. To west of Arnold's Cove, and from north of Jones Harbor to Bonavista, Newfoundland.
Right.
So
I have been to Bonavista. In fact, when I was on a cruise to Newfoundland, when the cruise landed at Bonavista, the mayor of Bonavista, who looked like a very lovely lady, maybe in her 50s or early 60s, was there to greet all the passengers as we came off the boat, saying, "Welcome, welcome to Bonavista, welcome." Now that was over 20 years ago, though. Joe, I don't think that she is the mayor anymore, but it's a wonderful community. Newfoundland is very friendly. In fact, there's a play that is about to open now that Broadway is opening up again, Come Away With Me, where on 9/11, you may remember that all aircraft were ordered to land, and many of them were forced to come down in Gander, Newfoundland. And the people of Gander just opened up their community, opened up their homes to all of these strange people from not just the United States, but from all over the world, because all of a sudden they couldn't go anywhere. And they were there for a while. And that Broadway play is based, I have not seen that play, but I really want to see it. And that play is based upon that incident from 20 years ago. Everybody in Newfoundland that we encountered are wonderful people and very lovely. I give you another example. We were walking along on one of the streets, I think it was in Bonavista, and a car came along and sprayed. There was some puddles in the street and sprayed us with water and a little bit of mud. And one of the people who lived there charged like a bat out of hell down the street after the car and started screaming and says, "These people are our visitors. These people, we should treat them with more respect. How dare you do something like that? You know better than that."
They were showering you with happiness.
But it's a great place. I've highly recommend, if anybody is wondering, maybe next summer, where could I go that could be someplace different? By all means, go to Newfoundland. And I just hope that all of the people who live, especially in the southeast corner, where Larry is going to be visiting tomorrow night, I hope not much in the way of damage takes place, because again, it's a very nice area to be in.
And we can take a look at this, by the way, in terms of Larry on the satellite. By the way, welcome to everybody on the chat board tonight. If I'm sounding a little bit subdued, it's because I am. I'm actually maybe I'm not 100%. Let's put it that way. nothing serious, but just feeling a little tired and a little subdued. So bear with me. But there you can see Larry is on the upper right now, moving away. It passed Bermuda earlier today. I didn't even look. I didn't look at the odds. They got into some rain bands and they probably had some gusty winds for a while, but the bulk of the core was well out to the east by about 175 miles or maybe even a bit more. Meanwhile, Mindy, you can still see the circulation of Mindy in the swirl there that's off the South Carolina coast. It's just running away to the northeast at well over 20 miles an hour. That thing's going to be gone. You got a lot of, with this deep upper trough that's set up here in the eastern part of the United States. It only is going to lead to very, very strong wind shear. And that trough is, you could just kind of pick it out there. And of course, Larry's now responding to that trough as it lifts up to the northeast. So this is creating, pretty strong southwest winds in the upper atmosphere there off the southeast coast. So yeah, the ocean water temperatures there are very warm and certainly warm enough for tropical storm formation, but not happening. Okay. Notice, by the way, we still have actually quite a bit of disturbed weather remains in the Gulf of Mexico and down in the Caribbean. Probably too much of it is over land, or at least the features that would develop are over land. So the Hurricane Center is not overtly bullish on this particular area. You can see Hurricane Omar, as they have hurricane warnings for the southern portion of the Delmarva Peninsula. And it's going to clip that and then turn on out to the west and move away rather than, say, going up the Gulf of California. In the meantime, the weather across much of the United States is actually not too shabby for the 9th of September. And you certainly, Joe, you feel the difference between the weather. You get into the month of September, you can sense that the atmosphere is starting to change just by when you get these air masses that come down out of Canada, these nice dry air masses. And we're going to be certainly between Larry and this upper trough, we're getting a nice shot of dry air that's being pulled down. Just got to get the last of these clouds out of the way along the coastal areas. It did clear out in upstate New York and much of central and western PA this afternoon, but hasn't reached the coast yet.
Right, and I'm waiting, and so is my wife, for that drier air to move in. We actually last night we looked at each other and we said, time to turn on the air conditioner, because it was a little bit on the humid side last night and rather warm as well. And of course, we got our share of showery, thundery weather that rolled on through locally here in Putnam Valley at around midnight or shortly thereafter. We picked up, Joe, about 0.34 inches of rain, not anywhere near the amounts that we were seeing fall over in parts of eastern Pennsylvania.
Right,
but
northern New Jersey, northwest
and northern
Jersey,
yeah. But that was expected, because we had noted how the activity was going to diminish quite a bit as it headed in an easterly direction. I do not know, however, what happened this morning, because remember, we showed the futurecast, the RPM yesterday, that indicated that maybe eastern Long Island would get hit hard in the morning hours this morning. I don't know whether or not that actually was the case.
You know what? It was in and out in terms of the rain during the morning into early afternoon, but they have been getting a steady rain just east of from just east of me east. For much of the late afternoon, and I got the radar up there. There's actually some heavier downpours that are moving over the Twin Forks and particularly over southeastern New England and then shooting up on into Maine. We are still seeing, by the way, echoes that go back, but much of what you see back through New Jersey and in the Hudson Valley, most of that's aloft. I don't even think it's reaching the ground. And then you got a few showers in northeast PA, because this is the upper trough now that is swinging east. So it's kind of a bit of a journey here that we have to get through. First, you got to get this wave of low pressure that's moving up the coast and getting out of the way. Then you got to get the upper trough to swing on through. And then finally, I think during the early morning hours, everybody should go partly to mostly clear and set us up for a good-looking day for tomorrow. Some scattered showers down around Florida, also up in northwestern Wisconsin, seeing a little activity there. And in California and Nevada and into Idaho, seeing showers there, kind of turning clockwise. So I don't know if there's a ridge out in the west because we have a trough in the east. So that accounts for these echoes going northeastward through much of California as they kind of rotate around the ridge that's in the western part of the United States. And of course, you got that tropical flow thanks to Omar. Which is down near the Baja Peninsula. WPC, by the way, Mr. Rayo, for the next 7 days, the exact opposite of what we just experienced. The WPC barely has a tenth of an inch of liquid. And some of that is actually probably left over from tonight. So not much precip forecast for at least the southern portions of the Northeast and down through the Mid-Atlantic and the South Atlantic states. Looks like September you get these long dry stretches, and it looks like we're going to be going into one here as we go through the weekend and into next week.
That's a Radiohead. Radiohead.
Or Radiohead.
No, that doesn't. But there's no O at the end. It's a U.
Oh.
Radiohead. Anyway, he says that, or she says that there was a confirmed tornado F0 in Coventry, Connecticut, early this morning, and that if you're wondering where that is, that's located east of Hartford. So I guess that's within the bounds of the Boston Weather Service. So they probably had somebody from Boston go down and confirm or verify that it was indeed a circular, or that there was a circulation associated with that system to make it a tornado. So, but that's outside of the New York weather region. But still, it just goes to show you that indeed places that were even north and east of New York City must have had some rough weather, either late last night or early today.
By the way, the Gulf Coast getting clobbered again, southwest Louisiana, and then all along the coastal bend of Texas with, again, you saw that Gulf moisture that we had out there. So, excuse me, rainfall amounts of 5 to 10 inches here for the next 7 days. Because of all the tropical moisture that's down in the Gulf of Mexico. Storm Prediction Center, no severe weather, organized severe weather forecast for this evening and overnight for tomorrow. We've got a small area of marginal risk up there in eastern Oregon and also along the east coast of Florida. Roughly, I would say from maybe just north of West Palm Beach and then go all the way up to just south of Jacksonville. That'll be the extent of it there. No severe weather's forecast for the next two forecast periods, which would be Saturday and Sunday, and Sunday into Monday. So that is good. Severe weather taking a break. And Joe, just kind of looking at the upper air pattern here, going forward. Relatively uneventful. The trough here in the east lifts out. There's actually another upper low that drops down into eastern Canada, but it goes pretty far to the north. And then once that goes by, the heights come up a bit, and you sort of have this, westerly flow, and we're kind of on the edge of it, and sort of this flat east-west ridge across the southern half of the U.S. Into next week. Troughs dropping into Minnesota and the Western Lakes, but lifting up to our west. So we're kind of in a we're sort of in a ridge position, and the Atlantic ridge is actually gets a little bit stronger as we go into later next week and beyond. So I'm just kind of trying to see, are we going to have a fourth tropical system before this season is done? I don't know. But I will say this, if you're a betting man, if you've already had three, the better bet is to probably bet that we will have a fourth, in my opinion.
Maybe you ought to, ask, you were alluding yesterday, maybe it was yesterday, about Bill Goodman.
Yes,
and
he
was talking about
he actually messaged me about 20 minutes ago. And he said that if you look at the ensembles, some of the ensemble members of the European and the GFS are showing something around the 20th, the 21st. And if we take a look, by the way, at the satellite, I have the whole loop of the tropical Atlantic. Take a look at the lower right. That's a hefty looking tropical wave that's about to move off. Look at that thing. Can you?
Would you call that a? Would you call that an African gyre?
Well, it's pretty big, Joe. That's a very
Yeah.
very large and strong looking tropical wave. Every once in a while you do get these systems when they come off the African coast where they're already closed circulations with pressures down in the upper 990s, like say a 997 or a 998 low, and then you just have to kind of wait to see if the convection tightens up as it moves over the warmer water. That's once you get closer to the Cabo Verde Islands. But I'm going to just put the surface up over here so we could take a look at what's coming off there. Just roll it back. So there's a closed isobar there. This is by Sunday. There's a 10-12 low just south and west of the Cabo Verde Islands, and the GFS does carry a signature there through the middle part of next week, and then it sort of loses it after that as we roll along. But you could see it does at least have an indentation there in the isobars as it heads towards the southeast coast, and then there's another one that comes off behind this one in about a week's time, and that one, same thing. It kind of loses it, but who's to say if that's that may not be correct. The models these seasons don't seem to be picking up on tropical systems as well as they have in past seasons. Seems like the whatever upgrade they did has made them a little less sensitive to what goes on in the tropics.
Well, on the on NHC's general map, they do direct everybody's attention. They say a 10% chance of cyclone formation in 48 hours.
Right, and
a strong tropical wave, 60% as of within the next 5 days.
Breaking news, Joe. Ready?
Okay.
Ready? This just in: the 8 p.m. Tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center has raised the probability of 5-day formation from 60% to 70%. So now it'll be I caught the map in mid-update, so it's still showing the yellow, but the actual text information has been updated. So now they have a 30% chance in the next 48 hours and a 70% chance of developing in the next 5 days. And of course, the system in the system with all that disorganized cloudiness in the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, and they've got an X marked over Nicaragua and Honduras, so they take it in the Southwest Gulf. It just does appear to be there's no room here. But they did raise that to a 20 in the next 2 and 40% now in the next 5, saying conditions are conducive to support some gradual development, and a tropical depression could form early next week before the system moves inland. There's not a whole lot of room down in the Southwest Gulf for something to happen this time around anyway.
This would be if that system coming off of Africa does develop into a tropical system, it would be the end storm, and the end storm on the list this year is Nicholas.
Oh, what's the O storm?
Odette.
And the P?
I just had the list in front of me, and I put it aside. I don't have it at. Well, let me see. Well, the only other person I ever knew with the name. Peter.
Oh, it is Peter. Okay.
Peter.
I thought so.
Odette, Peter, Rose, Sam, Teresa, Victor, and Wanda.
And then they have the whole new separate list of names that they're going to go to if we finish off the alphabet. All right, so what are we looking at here for the weekend? We've got this nice dry high. You can see the weather around the country really, for the most part, is quiet. You've got a lot of action down in the Southwest Gulf and along the Texas coastal bend, and that's all that tropical moisture's down there. Bit of a backdoorish front gets close to New York City on Monday night. Whether it gets through or not is another matter. A stronger front maybe attempts later next week, but if you believe the GFS on this run, it doesn't have much success. And then, of course, with these tropical waves that are kind of moving across the Atlantic, it looks like there's some kind of tropical wave or a little low that's off the Florida coast there by the end of next week. Doesn't do much with it, other than it does take some tropical moisture and turns it northward up the East Coast. But we'll wait to see whether there's something to all that. But at least for now, it looks relatively benign. I see a little bit of blue there north of Minnesota and a little bit of blue north of the state of Washington. Kind of hinting there. There's some more. Look at this toward the end of the forecast period, Joe, up in northern Montana, northwestern Montana there, with some cold air and some snow. It's getting close.
Well, considering that it was, well, actually, it was more than a year ago. It was back, I think, in early September of last year that Denver had 97 degrees. And then 2 days later, they had heavy snow. So we're into that time of the year now, Joe, where it's becoming less. It seems like in recent years, it's becoming less unusual to see the white stuff this early in the season, still officially in the summer season. So we'll see how things pan out as we move through the balance of this month of September.
All right. So we're going to make this a short show tonight because, as I said, I'm just not. I'm kind of feeling a little, blah, yuck. So we'll wrap it up. And I'm going to be driving back to Georgia on Saturday. So I think there's a chance that we could have a show Sunday morning. But if I'm a little extra tired, Joe, if we do it Sunday evening, does that work for you?
I'm not sure what my Sunday schedule is. We'll have to ask the executive producer because this, again, is the weekend. And for those of you who are in the vicinity of Putnam Valley, you're all welcome to come on to 11 Kramers Pond Road for the German American Club of Peekskill. They're having their annual Oktoberfest. And I, being the husband of one of the directors of the club, I will have my hands fairly full through the course of the Saturday afternoon, evening, and also Sunday, Joe. The fest starts at noon and continues until I think 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening on Sundays. So I'm not sure if we had an 11 o'clock show, I'm sure that I could do that, and then immediately I'd have to get out and go to the fest. But
right.
I'm not sure what the evening schedule will be, if that be the case. So
all right. Well, yeah, I'll see how
play it by ear.
We'll play it by ear. I'll get in touch with you at some point Sunday morning. If it turns out we'll do it in the evening, we'll go ahead and do it in the evening. Yeah, I'm probably going to be driving all day Saturday. Sometimes I'm wiped out from the drive, and I feel it the next morning. Other times I've done it where if I get in bed and get a decent night's sleep, and I wake up the next day, I'm actually feeling pretty good. So
how does a dog take it?
He actually takes it pretty well because he gets to sleep more than I do. Since he's not driving, I am.
Yes.
So he tends to come through it okay.
Is he one of those dogs like to stick his head out the window with the tongue going?
Well, I mean, I had a terrible barking problem with him in the truck because he would just bark at every car that went by, every Mack truck, everything he saw, he would bark at. And when you're on I-81 and you're driving for hours, pretty much in a straight line, and have a dog barking at you behind your head, it's not fun. But he doesn't do it anymore. I finally was able to train him not to bark in the car. Took a little patience, but it works. So anyhow. All right, look, bedtime is calling for me, so I think I think we'll say good night. Thanks everybody for being here today and for this week. And just as a reminder, just for everybody, the Joe and Joe Weather Show is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. Let me just get the graphic up here. And the telephone number is 631-756-1125 for the best prices in town. And again, a reminder, because I spoke to the owner there, and salt this year is going to be very expensive. Some of it is mined here in the U.S. and but a lot of it is imported, believe it or not. And well, it's all stuck with those bottlenecks coming across the Pacific and coming out of China. So it's a problem. So prices are going to be high, but she will have the lowest prices around. She's assured me of that. And also brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York. Your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs. And their phone number is 631-957-5106. And the website there is liholidaylighting.com. So I bid you good night.
Au reservoir.
Yes.